and Tractor Power, we feature MTRA Monster Truck Racing. From Allen County Fairgrounds in Lima, Ohio, it's the Spring 4-Wheel Jamboree Nationals. Well, I probably got the best seat in the house of Lima, Ohio. My two buddies and I are riding in the Snakebite Cruiser Ride. It's an obstacle course set up on the info where you buy a ticket and take a ride, and that's exactly what I've done. But over the years, if you follow the circuit, you know that Snakebite is taking a bunch of wild rides here. He's gone on his side and pulled it out. He's nosed it all the way on the other end. As a matter of fact, just a few years ago, stopped with this just in inches of the barricade on the end of the track. We're not going to take that wild a ride today with this Snakebite Cruiser, because Snakebite's not here in the race form. He's just here in the cruiser form. But I tell you, somebody that is here in the race form, and he's not having a very good year this year. With more on that story, let's go over to the competition area and Dave Reef.
And that heavy hitter, Fred SHAFER, driver of the Barefoot Dodge you see behind me here. Now, Fred's had no problems with success here in Lima. In fact, it was just 1 year ago when he set the fastest ever monster truck run in recorded history of 4.64. Fred got off on the right foot in qualifying in the very first Penta Points race this year. He was the fastest among 13 trucks. But then in the first round of competition, the Barefoot Dodge met up against the Sampson Chevrolet of Dan Patrick. Barefoot gets off course. Sampson takes the win. And to add insult to injury, SHAFER's time not among the quick losers. He misses the final 8 cut and spots the Ford boys a lot of points. But I had a chance to talk with Fred today. He says he's still got a lot of faith in this Dodge Hemi engine. He says it's a very fast runner, and if he can keep it straight, he's got something for the Ford boys.
Speaking of having something, SHAFER goes into 493. That puts him third quick, but look at 1 and 2 quick. They're both Fords. Patrick in a Chevrolet and Welch in a Chevrolet rounding out the top 5 on the qualifying ladder.
Well, Fred SHAFER was able to get out of round 1, but very close to being eliminated again, going up against Alan Pizzo. The Barefoot roars just a little bit louder. Brian Welch in moving violation comes into this race as the number 5 qualifier, but he's a little late on the light. But he gets a little luck as Pam Botters blows an engine. Welch is moving on to round 2.
I anticipated the light a little wrong there. The second stage light was still flickering, and he went ahead and hit the tree. So hopefully the starter will get that all under control, and we'll move on to the next round. We'll see if we can find some more power here.
Bit of a thrash in the Hulkster pit heading into their round 1 run.
Yeah, before the round run competition, they had a starter go away, so immediately the crew jumps on the truck, puts it back together, and he claims Paul SHAFER in this first round win. And the truck really looks like it is making awesome horsepower today, Dave.
And that's not the only thing that happened in round 1, Army.
Fuel check was the big question. Each team, Barefoot and Bigfoot, blaming each other for running additive, so the crews said, okay, we'll draw some out. The MTRA official said, you bet you will. We're going to take it back to St. Louis and have it analyzed to see what kind of fuel you are running.
Well, Army, here's the way we look heading into round 2. Executioner and Monster Patrol, your fast losers now as we get set for the final 8. The NASCAR game, a lot of fun, as well as we see replicas of 2 guys from the Owensboro area. That's Army Armstrong area. Of course, DW and Brother Michael, but I guess that's Johnny Benson in the Pennzoil car now.
Yeah, I just wonder where the Jeremy Mayfield 98 car is. He's from Owensboro, Kentucky, too, you know.
Round 2 action when Trucks and Tractor Power returns.
Welcome back to the Allen County Fairground in Lima, Ohio for the 11th annual Big A Auto Parts Spring 4-Wheel Jamboree Nationals. I'm Army Armstrong along with Dave Reef, and looks like your head got the good assignment today, Dave.
Well, certainly one of the many facets of the Jamboree, the Spring 4-Wheel Jamboree Contest. As you can tell, it's one of the more popular attractions on the Midway for the light truck enthusiast. Our winner was Shonda McComb. She said she was going to take her kids to the Cedar Point Amusement Park with her winnings from the contest. Amy Adair to the right of your screen was the first runner-up. Donna Robinson, the second runner-up. And right now we head back to round 2 racing in the competition area. And a good look at Dan Runte in the Bigfoot Ford, your current points leader, heading into round number 2. He's going up against Paul SHAFER in Monster Patrol. And Paul's no stranger to racing as well. A world champion mud racer, a very successful businessman, and an innovator. Earlier, Army took a look at Paul SHAFER's newest contraption.
Paul SHAFER and the Monster Patrol crew have solved one of the major problems that have faced drivers in this sport for years. The problem? How do you change a tire on a 10,000-pound monster truck when each tire weighs 700 pounds and you're only allowed 3 crew members over the wall, if you will, to change that tire? Well, Paul came up with a hydraulic and electric setup here with a motor and a hydraulic system that's very similar to the jaws of life. All you do is you just flip this switch, hit this crank, and this 10,000-pound monster truck goes up with no problem whatsoever. So basically, you take the technology that you get from the jaws of life that you use to get people out of an accident, and in this case, instead of getting them out, you get in the truck up. That's when you change the tires.
Time to get jacked up right now for round number 2, though, as Dan Runte in the Bigfoot 4 is going to go up against Paul SHAFER in a Monster Patrol.
Boy, Dan Runte put a hole shot on that right lane tree. SHAFER, boy, did not have a prayer. Ford moves again into the next round. You know that Ford has not lost even a round so far this year.
It's been pretty dominating. And speaking of dominating, what about the WCW Holster, our round 1 quick qualifier who finished second to Dan Runte? He's going up against the executioner of Tim Hall.
You know, that's an interesting race here because both young drivers, and Mark Hall and Tim Hall, are the brother team out of Champaign, Illinois. Mark doing the driving is one of the most underrated drivers in the sport. These guys are a victory looking to happen. Will it happen today? I don't know. These Fords seem to be having a hot hand, but this Chevrolet's not rolling over on them at all, Dave.
Well, they're on the way in the Holster, flexing his muscles. Once again, the WCW car crosses the finish line first. A 4:84, a good time for Eric Meager and Tim Hall and the executioner. They're going to have to wait to race another day.
You know, but there's kind of an interesting point here as we got a top-end camera. I want you to watch the front of the truck on your left and to see if indeed his front tires did make contact, both front tires, with that second obstacle. We may have a disqualification. No, I don't think they did.
Well,
the driver's side tires, yeah, the driver's side tires. Let's see what the officials do about this, but that should be a DQ run.
Well, they're taking a look at the replay as we speak. You can see Eric Meager, a very concerned driver, Tim Hall, and a lot of the drivers getting around to take a look at this replay with the officials.
Well, I tell you, the replay won't lie, and the drivers know that if he was wrong, they're going to see it on the replay.
And another look here, you can see the left front tires. They need to both touch the set of cars. They're outside the line. Special events people and track officials taking a look. They've made their decision. Eric Meager has been disqualified. He's standing by with Army.
Hulk Hogan going to have to wait for another day to go into the winner's circle. Eric, the big question is about this tire right here. They're saying that this tire did not go over the cars on the end. Now, there's a little stake down there, and they're saying that had you gone over that, you would have knocked that stake down with the tires. After your pass, the stake was still up. They assumed you were out of bounds.
Yeah, as it stands out right now, I mean, they've checked the tape. The track official has designated the truck as been DQ'd. I haven't seen it yet. I feel I was over. I don't know extremely how far or how close the call was, but we're going to have to go with that call, and I'm sure we'll check it out at the end of the race.
So the Ford team having a problem keeping things straight. And, hey, let's see if Fred SHAFER in the Barefoot Dodge can do it as well. He's had a problem with it. He's going up against Brian Welch in moving violation to close out round number 2.
You know, Fred's problem has not been horsepower. Ever since this Dodge Hemi's teamed up with the Lonati Camshaft people, they make buku horsepower. The problem is, which way's the truck going to go in no man's land? And with the truck in front of him having a problem missing the ramp, I'll guarantee you Fred SHAFER is very, very aware of that.
Well, Brian Welch out of Chicago, Illinois, pilot of the moving violation vehicle. He's going to do all he can against Fred SHAFER, but you got to remember, this guy's the world record holder at this event.
But when you're the world record holder, there's only one way you can go, and everybody's going to be taking a shot at you. Brian is a good little driver. Chevrolet versus Dodge. SHAFER keeps it straight in no man's land. That's the combination he's been looking for all year long.
A 493, Fred SHAFER moves on to the semifinals. Brian Welch is done. Round number 2 is in the books. Tough trucks and a lot more monsters when we come back to Lima.
Welcome back to Lima, Ohio. It's time for the tough truck competitions. Now, a few years ago, the tough trucks were just for grin and giggles. You take your street truck, you kind of show off a little bit. But believe me, some of these guys are taking this sport real serious.
One of those guys, the hippie flyer, Stephen Bishop out of Pandora, Ohio. He can bring the crowd to his feet by the way he stands on it.
He's literally lining up with that jump in the crosshairs. The front end's about to collapse on him. Oh, this guy had that thing on kill, and it's supposed to be a street truck?
Oh, certainly a thrill a minute. Steve Conaway brings THUMPER'S toy to the tough truck area. And tough truck, maybe a broke truck.
No, what happened is the rear-wheel drive went away. That was a front-wheel drive only vehicle.
Give her a little gas. Dave COSSELL, the Indianapolis driver, is no relation to Howard, brings his Jeep CJ7.
All right, Muhammad, let's see what you do on the jump now. That's my imitation of Howard COSSELL. Not very good, but we're having fun.
Don't quit your day job.
No, sir.
Over the big jump, slams her down hard. Now the tailgate's been broke the whole way around. And, oh.
Now, this is my favorite guy, DWAYNE, the Deadhead Dude. He's out of Springfield, Ohio. Who else is from Springfield?
The Simpson. That's right.
That's right, dude.
Well, the Jerry Garcia of Tough Trucking. Take a look at him going over the bumps right now.
Got a nice turn signal on, so he's being courteous.
We're turning right turn, so everybody can know about it. He's got to get himself lined up straight, though.
Don't want to panic you, Dave, but that was a left turn signal. Here we go to the jump. And old DWAYNE finds a new way to scramble his brains, and it's not with rock and roll.
Thomas White, our next competitor in the 80 Jeep Cherokee. Take a look here. He's got a good sponsor just in case. It's AAA Collision. Oh, he might need it after that.
Man. But the old Jeep kept right on going. So.
Well, it certainly did. There you go. 822-9842 if you need a lift after the tough truck competition. I don't think he's going to need one this time around.
No, he's not. But Bryce Hill comes out in the big tracks, the name of it, almost too stiff a suspension. Look at that bounce. He bounces over the tire. Now, the crowd likes that. They get into this.
But what about Steve Sanquinetta, the only driver out here in a car? The Skylark. Oh, front end suspension damage there. You can see that front left tire turned in a little bit.
Yeah, he completely collapsed the front end on him. Meanwhile, while all the tough truck competition is going on one side of the track, there was a mad thrash going on around the Rampage vehicle. Prior to the semifinals, they found out that they had a starter problem also. They only had 3 minutes to get it fixed.
Well, the Rampage had no problem taking out Overkill in round 2. Todd cuts a good light, runs a good time, a 4.83. That proved this Dodge certainly was a player.
But you only have 3 minutes to fix the vehicle. The question is, when does the 3 minutes start? From the time your competitor goes to line or from the time you get in your truck to go racing?
You can see the work going on back there. Listen to the sparks as they try to get this truck started. The time limit is up. Todd does not make the call, and Army catches up with him.
Todd, rules are rules. The 3 minute limit caught you here. What was the problem?
I've got no power to my ignition key. Go to start it. I've got power to all my dash. My gauges are on, but I have no power to the key to turn the motor over.
Boy, a tough break on a day when the Dodge looked like they all had it ironed out. A little gremlin jumps up and bites you. Some days it's better to be luckier than good.
So the 50-cent part beats Todd Froelich. He gives up the spot to Overkill, who's reinstated to face Bigfoot in the semifinal pair. The other bracket, the Barefoot Dodge of Fred Schaefer. He'll be going up against Mark Hall's Executioner, the GMC you see right here. Army, he's one of our privateers in the sport, just trying to get to each race each week.
Yeah, he and his brother Mark, and Mark does the driving. Tim is the crew chief on it. They run just as hard as anybody, and they're representing the Chevrolet camp or the General Motors camp in this lineup. You got Dodge, Ford, and Chevrolet still in the competition.
Of course, Fred Schaefer's been having a problem keeping the Barefoot Dodge straight. He did so in the last round. Let's see if he can do it right now in our semifinal round. Fred Schaefer going up against the Executioner.
Oh, yeah. Schaefer has found the chassis setup. Horsepower has never been a problem with that vehicle. The Hemi makes all the horsepower. The number 469 tells it all. If he can keep it straight, he can make it tough on you. Speaking of tough on you, Overkill gets the break he's been looking for, but he's got to go against the Ford of Dan Runte, and I don't think it's bothered Dabney. As a matter of fact, Kurt Dabney has always liked to beat up on the big guys. Let's see if he can do it now. Dave?
Fred Schaefer, the big Barefoot, lots of horsepower. Hey, Dodge is in their first final this year.
I think that was my straightest run so far this weekend. I feel real good about it. The truck's running real good.
Well, Dan Runte and Kirk Dabney, semifinals. Who's going to be going against the Dodge? We know it's going to be a Ford. The question will be which one. Your current national record holder and past winner, Runte, sets in the lane closest to us. The starter gets both of them in the lanes. Dabney's ready to go. Starter waiting patiently. It's a sight game. Both of them are trying to outsight the other before they move into the final lanes. Bigfoot takes a win. He had a good bounce on the end, kept it close to the ground, a 484. His number's not as good as the Dodge. We might be setting up a little drama here as the Ford goes against the Dodge in the final. Replay comes up on the screen. Dabney actually moved first, but he stayed in the air longer. Bigfoot got down on the ground. See, Bigfoot's making horsepower now in no man's land. The final launch. And Runte bounces over the finish line to set up a Dodge Ford final.
Dan, a 484 against Overkill. You're heading into the finals again.
Yeah, we're going back there. You know, it's hard to come out and do this well. I go, a lot of thanks to the crew. Ford Bigfoot's working well. We got a lot of people behind us. It's going fast and running so consistent we can't stand it. We're just going to go to the finals and see if we can't pull another one out of here.
Speaking of finals, that's what's coming up next. Dodge and Ford from Lima, Ohio. Stay tuned. It's going to be a war.
Look out, you're headed for a wild ride where there's lots of crashing, smashing, and splashing that's full of muck, mud, and mayhem. It's wild. It's outrageous. It's a crash course from the School of Hard Knocks. TNN Motor Bandits warning.
For those of you who like to take home a little grit in your teeth and mud in your hair after a day of motorsports, we have the tape for you. Look out, cover the furniture before popping this baby in the VCR. It's Shake, Battle, and Roll 4. The latest installment of this popular series from Diamond P Sports delivers all the hard knocks from the world of monster trucks and mud racing. And also features the heavy right-footed action of the tough truck competition where bravado wins out over common sense virtually every time. To get your copy of Shake, Battle, and Roll 4, call 1-800-952-7878 or send $19.95 plus shipping and handling to the address shown on your screen. Visa, Master, or Discover cards are accepted. That's 1-800-952-7878 for Shake, Battle, and Roll 4.
The four-wheel jamborees are part of the Special Events Performance Series featuring a weekend of four-wheel fun. There's the manufacturer's midway, or check out all the chrome and polish of the show and shine competition. Contact the Special Events Promotion Company to find out more about the jamborees and other Special Events Performance Series events.
Fans enjoy the activities on the midway. Here's Dave with a truck I know you're going to enjoy.
Over in the show and shine area, we find this rolling memorial to war veterans all across the United States. Comes courtesy of Rick LeGros out of New York. It's this 1988 Longfoot truck. It's a Ford F-350 with crew cab. And Rick, tell us about the inspiration behind this mural.
Well, the artist Gary Gufford and I got together with some veterans and discussed ideas and thoughts that would create some feelings of what it was like. And naturally, we incorporated things that were important to them, their helmet, the idea of the helicopters and the jets always helping them out, the fact that they were always in the water, some of the fears of being shot at, things like that. And we tried to create a montage that would, give you Vietnam in an artist's point of view.
And that's not the only paint scheme on this big truck either.
No, we tried to create things like the American flag, the POW MIA, and with the barbed wire, things that also related to them, especially over in the war corps.
Of course, the best part about this, people don't got to not only come to a show to see it, it's driven daily.
Yes, we drive it to all the shows. It's, something that's completely usable, completely functional, something you can enjoy. And it's like, a lot of people worked on, a lot of people helped, and we just tried to make it so it's functional, and at the same time is something people will enjoy to look at and enjoy.
Well, being a Vietnam vet, I appreciate all the energy and efforts that's gone into it. A lot of the judges did, too. They gave the New York native best paint and graphics, best Ford, and best full-size 88 through 97.
Well, time now to move to our final event. Dan running up against Paul Schaefer, and you got to remember this battle started out even before round one, with each team claiming the other was running hopped-up fuel. Each lost a teammate along the way. Meager in the Hulkster was DQ'd for going out of bounds. Todd Froehlich couldn't make the call for the final four, but it still points to a Ford-Dodge showdown.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something else. These people don't like each other. Okay, let's lay it on the line. This is a real war coming up. The first salvo has been fired in this war. RUNTE scored. Let's see what the Dodge can do with him now.
Well, Team Bigfoot looks on as Rick Rice gets ready to turn him loose. Fred Schaefer and Dan Runte, today's Penta Points final.
All right, the enthusiasm. You can tell who won it. Dan Runte, a 483. The crew's excitement shows that he takes a win. Schaefer drops off. He goes to a 506, so not able to put the horsepower down he wanted to. Watch the truck attitude over the first jump. The Dodge kind of noses down. Look at Bigfoot. He's still up in the air. Now no man's land. They're both picking up on the throttle, and Runte literally flies to the finish line. The Dodge touches down first after the second jump. Doesn't make any difference. The Ford is definitely on his way.
Dan Runte, a 483 as the Bigfoot Ford makes it 2 for 2.
Like I said, I can't really say a whole bunch. Bigfoot Ford's working good. Mac Tools has helped us out a bunch here this weekend. We did have some problems. I got a great crew and a great boss. I mean, I can't say enough about it. It's just been an outstanding weekend. I'm happy as all get out.
Corporate battle round one goes to the Fords.
Now, we need to do something to deal with front of that backdrop. something let go in no man's land. We understand a malfunction in the blower.
Yeah, it was. The snout on the blower broke off, Army. I mean, these Dodges have been putting the numbers down. We know we got the fastest 2 trucks here. We just got to get the little bugs out and the little bitty problems out. We got a good, strong team here. It's team effort.
Well, the standings after the second event here in Lima finds Dan Runte opening up an even bigger lead. Eric Meager, the other Ford teammate, runs in second, followed by the Dodgers of Todd Froelich and Fred Schaefer. Mark Hall rounds out the top 5. Congratulations.
Well, there are 2 of the big pieces to this winning puzzle. Gary Saleen on the left, the engine man. He was shaking hands with Jim Kramer, the operations director. Ford, yeah, #1 today. Let's see if they can stay there. But there was a war of another kind going on the other side of the midway in the show and shine category, Dave.
And it didn't even feature a race, just a chance to pick up some plaques and hardware like this beautiful trophy here. Mark Miller was one of those guys. He picked up the first place award for the favorite Ford.
Yeah, Paul Smith in a black '89 Toyota. He and his buddies, the Flying Burrito Brothers, they've gone out of here with most functional show vehicle.
The red '89 4x4, the best classic 4x4, the event belonging to Shane Tickle.
You know, this is a neat award here. The photographers can pick awards they like. They pick brothers, John and Tom Belcher, photographer's favorite.
Oh, we sure had a lot of fun here in Lima. In the monster trucks, it was all Ford once again. For Army Armstrong, I'm Dave Reap. We'll see you again next week on